All right. We back. It's your boy Leo G. And we're back for another episode of the Leo G Show, man, where we do it from a fan's perspective, man. As always, we love doing this, man. This is the Leo G Show featuring my man Banks. What's going on, Banks?
What up, Leo G? How you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling all right, man. I'm feeling cool, man. It was a little weird with the theme music today, man. I don't know if you heard it on your end, man, but it was kind of a little, I don't know, man. It had like DJ Screw kind of chopped up and screw vibe to it. I don't know, but we-
It sounded pretty good on my end, brother. I can't
okay,
complain.
okay. If it sounded pretty, if you like it, we love it. We gonna keep it moving, man. It's the Leo G Show, man. Like I said, featuring my man Banks, and also, man, my man Derrico, man. Shout out to my man Derrico, man, who just had a birthday. He can't join. He couldn't join us for the show tonight. We had some scheduling stuff going on, so he couldn't join us tonight. He's at a remote location, still enjoying his birthday. So, man, shout out to my man Derrico Banks on his birthday, man, and hopefully he'll be back for next week's show, man. Yeah, we're gonna drink up for him, man. We're gonna do a drink for him, man. So hopefully we can get this up. Hopefully I'm gonna put this up tonight as we record. And we'll be able to get it to the people, man, so they can see it, man. Put it up on our YouTube channel, man. Thanks for the support on the YouTube channel. Remember to continue to like and subscribe to the show. And give us some feedback, leave us some notes, tell us, if you like it, tell us if you don't. Either way, we're gonna continue to do this. Ain't that right, Banks? We're gonna continue to do what we do, man, and talk about
Absolutely, bro.
ATL sports because that's what we do, man, and that's what
ATL.
we love. Straight up, man. Even though tonight I don't. So we'll talk about the outfit tonight. I don't have on ATL. Now, well, I do have ATL. I'm rocking an ATL hat. Y'all see it, ATL all day, every day. I gotta rock something with the ATL attire. But today I got on a little something special because I'm feeling some type of way. Because we're gonna talk about Atlanta United. We're gonna talk about soccer. We're gonna talk about week one NFL because boy, we got a lot to talk about on that one, man. But we're gonna start off talking a little bit about the outfits. We're gonna talk about what I got on, and we're gonna talk about what Banks got on. So right off the rip, I'm representing none other than Manchester United. You see it, everybody can see it. If you're rocking the YouTube channel, check me out. I got on Manchester United, and the significance behind what I have on tonight is, man, Manchester United is my EPL team. It's the reason that I started watching soccer, Banks. It's the reason that I started watching the beautiful game many years ago. But something very, very significant happened with Manchester United. And that was they were able to get one of the best players in the world back to Manchester United. Banks, do you know who I'm talking about?
I do not.
You do not. Okay.
I do not.
So, so let me ask you this, Banks, because I know you're still new to soccer. We're still learning this. We've been watching it for a minute, but the news, soccer news cycles are hard to get with. But like, when it comes to best players in the world, what names come to mind in your head when you talk about soccer? Do you know of any off the top of your head, like the best names in soccer?
Only one I know is Ronaldo.
Whoa! So you just bust the bubble. Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7, is now back with Manchester United. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Absolutely. Cristiano Ronaldo, who played for Manchester United, brought them a couple of trophies to the case some years back, went on to play for the likes of Real Madrid and Juventus. He's now back with Manchester United. And, so that's why I had to break out, one of the, arguably 1A and 1B, Cristiano Ronaldo, a great player, one of the greatest players to ever grace a pitch. And, of course, Messi. Messi is now with PSG, who was with Barcelona, but now he's with PSG doing his thing over there in League One in France. So, so I'm excited about that, Banks, even though hopefully we can get Reggie. Shout out to my man Reggie McKee back to do some soccer talk with us, man. Got a lot going on over there in Europe with the EPL, with Champions League right now. But it's a very exciting time to be a Manchester United fan. I still haven't converted you yet, Banks, but I'm working on it, man.
I mean, you tried. I like to be different. You know what I'm saying? I'll be a Man City fan just to mess with you.
Hell no. Oh no. We would have to stop doing the show. No, sir. We would have to stop doing the show if you decided you want to be a Man City fan. But it's all good though, man. Because we actually, shout out to my cousin Jay, who's been rocking with the show from day one as well. He actually picked the EPL team. He's rocking with West Ham. He actually on the show picked, started following the EPL because of us, me and Reggie and all of us following soccer. He rocked with West Ham. So Banks, maybe we can get you to start watching a little more EPL, and then maybe we can get you to throw your hat in the ring, find you a team, and go from there. Because that's how you do it, man. Like, it's EPL. I mean, here we do sports the Atlanta way, because we live in Atlanta. We love Atlanta sports. But when you're looking at international sports from a perspective, you just got to find somebody that you rock with. Of course, shout out my man Reggie, who's a Bournemouth fan. Bournemouth got relegated to the next tier down from the Premiership over in England, but he's still rocking Bournemouth. He rocked with them. He's been with them for a minute. But you just, like I said, man, start watching a little more, Banks, and then you find your team. Hey, maybe you want to rock with Man City. I mean, it would be a shame if you did, but it is what it is, man. But maybe we'll come back, circle back around, and you find your EPL team, man, and we'll go from there and talk about it. Because that's how it's fun when you have a team and you watch EPL and you can find that team, man. It's fun. It's just like with any sport, man. Once you find your team, man, and you follow them, and that's the fun in it.
That's probably the only exception where you can go to a sport and go ahead and pick a team. I'm about to go with that, right?
Yeah, I know where you about to go with that, man. I mean, yeah, a lot of people do it, man, here in the States, man. And there's a lot of reasons for it. But we're traditionalists. We're kind of old school in our thinking and in our ways. We live in Atlanta, born and raised. We aren't transplants. We are locally grown, ATL all the way, all day, every day. So we rep all the teams here, man. That's what we do, man. So shout out to the ATL team. Shout out to Man U. Shout out to my man CR7 back with Manchester United. And shout out to this 1792 Foolproof Bourbon that I'm on right now. So hopefully this show will go out without a hitch. Because I said, you know what, Banks? Usually, man, I mean, we have a good time. We have fun with this show, man. But tonight, the stuff that we talking about, man, I said I had to be a little relaxed with this, man, because, whoo, boy, we got some crazy stuff to talk about tonight. You feel me?
I feel you, Leo. But before you move on, I'm about to go ahead and rock my gear. And I'll let you know what I got on. I'm rocking the away kit for the Atlanta United for the huge
King's
win they
kit.
had. King's kit, baby. They wore this yesterday. That drumming that they did on Cincinnati, and going to show you the scarf that I got from Big Rob. Shout out to Big Rob for the
Shout out Big
scarf.
Rob. Shout out Big
And
Rob, man.
I
Shout out
had
Big Rob.
to, it was upside down.
Bend the knee, baby. Bend the knee.
Bend the
Shout out
knee,
to my
bend the
man
knee.
Joseph
So
Martinez.
the thing is, I had to rock it out, say with a good W yesterday. That's back to back clean sheets, Leo.
Back-to-back clean sheets with Atlanta United. So look, without further ado, man, you know what? Let's just go ahead and jump into it, man. Let's talk first about Atlanta United, man. So listen, 7 goals in 2 games and 2 clean sheets. Seven goals in the last 2 games and 2 clean sheets. 3 goals against that team from Central Florida and 4 goals last night against Cincinnati. Man, wow. This team now. So we talk about this all the time, Banks, man. Let's get into it, man. The first half of the season, if you were living under a rock and you weren't following Atlanta United, the first half of the season was pretty tough. Gabriel Heinze was the coach, and there was not a lot to talk about. There wasn't a lot of success. There was a lot of drama and a lot of things going on, and we just didn't know if we could pick it up and get right. We just didn't know, right?
Man, it was. I hate to use this word, but they was in turmoil. Like, I really thought that they were in a disarray and a franchise that was spiraling out of control. And I couldn't really stand to watch it anymore because it was depressing. It was very depressing, and you're going from manager to manager to manager to manager, and it's like, okay, y'all, what are we doing? We playing this musical chairs with these managers think that they're gonna just be the next. I don't know what I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't want to sit there and try to figure out what was going on. But hopefully this hire is the right one, and we can stick with this man.
Absolutely. Gonzalo Pineda, who comes in as the new head coach for Atlanta United, came from Seattle. We talked about it on the last podcast. Seattle is one of those teams in the MLS that commands a lot of respect. They have titles in their own right. They're one of the premier franchises in this league. So we bring him here, and he comes into a great spot. I mean, you would think like coming into Atlanta United with the players that they have and what they've done here in this city, that this is going to be a great place to be. And shout out to my man Rob Valentino, man, for taking over after the firing of Gabriel Heinze. We parted ways. He started this. So Valentino actually started this run of greatness that we're seeing now. And Pineda is just coming in and basically tweaking what Valentino started, man. I mean, this Valentino might get poached to go somewhere and be he might get poached to go be a manager somewhere after the success he had with just those few games that he was the interim coach for Atlanta United. So we'll talk about it, man, here. Like, it's almost night and day, Banks, when you talk about this team and how they look initially under Gabriel Heinze. I don't want to go too much into what was going on in the rumors under that regime, but this is almost a night and day transformation in what we're seeing now. I mean, they have come into their own, and as of right now, man, we went from a team that was in dire straits to now we're sitting in seventh place above the playoff line, 5 points out of third, which is crazy. Because if you would have told me this 2 months ago, I would have been like, man, you out of your mind. But right now, we are sitting in the driver's seat in playoff contention going into the stretch. Banks, how do you feel about this complete? It's damn near 360, man. It's a 360, and we'll talk about why and what's going on. But how do you feel about how this transformation has happened?
This is a team right now that I don't think anybody want to see. Atlanta United is playing some great soccer right now, and excuse my football. They are doing their greatest impression of a sleeping giant being woke. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's fun to watch. It's completely. I can't even. I want to talk about certain individuals, Leo.
Yeah, so we'll get into it. We'll start talking about those certain individuals. Not to cut you off. I didn't mean to cut you off, Banks. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I just wanted to point out Torres, man. I didn't want to say his first name because I know I was going to butcher it, but he's playing with so much fire that he scored that goal yesterday, and from that,
okay. Wait. So stop. So are we talking about Aruju? Is that who you're talking about? Aruju?
No, not Aruju. I think didn't Torres score that? No, he didn't.
No,
okay,
no,
I must be getting my.
Is he talking about Aruju? Are we gonna butcher names?
I'm not talking about Aruju. It was 4 goals scored, and Joseph had 2.
Scored. So Joseph had 2, Barco had 1, and Aruju, because we're gonna butcher that. Barco scored a goal. So yesterday against Cincinnati, Barco scored a goal on a set piece, which we'll talk about that in just a minute, Banks. Aruju actually scored the first goal, the player that we acquired from France from Lille. Don't worry, don't worry, Banks. We're gonna get it right. We're gonna get it together. Stay with me. And then of course the Cane, Mr. Joseph Martinez himself scored 2 goals on yesterday, which happened to be 3 of those 4 goals were assisted by a guy by the name of Alan Franco. So yeah, Aruju is who you're talking about. Arujo. I can't really I know the soccer folk gonna butcher me on this, man. They're gonna say the hell. But he's a Brazilian player, came over from France. We just picked him up not too long ago, a winger. And we knew that we were gonna see a lot out of him, man. So going into it, Banks, and I know you wanted to talk a little bit about it and what you saw. So now with us clarifying that, tell us how you felt about the left-footed winger that scored that first goal.
I didn't know too much about the guy. I know he came in, a lot of people was anticipating to see him play. And he scored his goal. I guess that was his debut, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't, but continue.
Well, what I was trying to say is that he got a lot of eyebrows raised, and I was listening to the post-game show, and they were speaking, they couldn't talk enough about Aruju, if I'm saying his name correctly, Mike Conti, and Jason Longshore. So I was really intrigued of this guy, and maybe I need to do some research on him. And my
Yeah, I mean,
apologies to anybody who's offended about me butchering who he is, and I apologize.
no, it's all good, man. It's okay, man. Listen, we butcher. That's what we do. We butcher names. I ain't gonna lie. 1792 gonna have me butcher anything, man. Shout out to 1792 Kentucky 120 proof bourbon that I'm drinking right now because we're gonna talk. The second segment of the show. I needed this drink tonight to talk about the second part of the second segment of the show. We'll get into it in just a minute. But yeah, man. So with you shaking. You dreading that one, but it's coming. It's coming.
Oh,
So
I'm not
listen. So
dreading it. I'm not dreading it. I got my guns cocked on that, brother.
so let's continue to talk a little bit about Atlanta United, man, and what they've been doing, man. So look, yeah, Arujo. So look, this attack and what we're seeing now is reminiscent of 2018. You go back to the inception of Atlanta United when we were that free flowing attacking team that we love to watch play. People who didn't really follow a lot of soccer that was here and you saw Atlanta United play, man. It was fun to watch. Then you move on from the Tata era, you move on from the MLS Cup days, then we move into the Frank De Boer era, and we somewhere along the way we lost our identity. I don't know. We lost Miguel Almiron. Shout out to Miguel Almiron, who's over in the EPL doing his thing over at Newcastle United. Um, we lost our identity, man. We were a fun team to watch that scored a lot of goals. And then there was a lot of stuff that came up with Frank De Boer. Then, exit Frank De Boer. And then, we hired Gabriel Heinze. We missed the playoffs 2 years. And now we're back into the scheme of things, man, with Gabriel Heinze leaving, bringing in Rob Valentino, and then Rob Valentino as interim coach, I'm sorry, and then bring in Gonzalo Pineda. And now we're seeing an attack. Like you said, Sleeping Giant is now woke that nobody, I think, in the MLS. Now, don't get me wrong, Banks. I will say this much. There are some teams, and this is with anything, that are going to give us some fits because of our style of play. It leaves us open to a couple of things that I'll talk about in just a minute. And there are some teams that could give us some real problems, if we do make it into the playoffs and coming up in here and into the next several games that we're playing. But it's four players that I want to talk about right now. And of course, we're very familiar with Joseph Martinez, of course. We're very familiar with Ezekiel Barco, who I think now, so why we talking, so why I just mentioned Ezekiel Barquito, however you want to address him as, he has come into his own. Banks, how do you feel now as I talk about this attack with Barco and what he means to this team now? How do you feel with his progression now, as opposed to when we first brought this 19-year-old kid in, who we looked and thought very highly of, and we didn't see what we thought we were going to see, but we're seeing it now. How do you feel about this transformation with him, man?
It looks like somebody took the collar off his neck and unleashed him. It was almost like it was overnight. I mean, maybe I'm tripping, but it looks like it was overnight, and all of a sudden, this man's playing like his his butt is on fire, and I love it. And you feel what I'm saying. I mean, he's playing. He's
I
on
do,
every
man.
play. He's trying to get the ball at all costs. I mean, I watched this man. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, this can't be the same Barco that it came into Atlanta United. His first day, we were like, what? Oh,
It's the
okay.
same. No, this is the same guy. This is the same guy, and this is what I think, and this is the reason why I think we brought him in is because of the potential. 19-year-old kid, man, he had a lot of comparisons, and they knew, you got to remember, man, this kid is still very relatively young. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't really hit. We're seeing him hit his form now. He's very reminiscent of somebody that came from the same place that he came from, and he knows and looked up to in Messi, Lionel Messi, who's playing for PSG now, one of the greatest players in the world. He's Argentina produces some great soccer players. I.e. Maradona, Messi, several players. I can go on and on naming them, but they come from a lineage of great players down there in Argentina. And Barco is one of those guys that we were saying was going to be the next top tier player out of Argentina. So he's here with Atlanta United, and he, like you just said, Banks and alluded to, man, he's hitting his form and hitting his stride right now. I mean, and for good measure, because like right now we needed him to start to hit his stride at a great point in the season where we can kind of make some push toward getting a little bit further up the table, man, going into the playoffs. So you got four people, like I just said, Joseph, obviously, you got Barco, you got a guy by the name of Moreno who's playing that center facilitating role, who's almost playing that kind of, if you want to compare him to Miguel Almiron, he doesn't really have the speed like Miguel Almiron does, but he's playing that facilitator role and moving down the center and facilitating the attack. And then you got the guy that you just talked about, Arujo, or whoever. I keep butchering his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. So you got those four guys in the attack right now on the field.
It kind of
Yeah,
it reminds you of, like you said, 2018 with Miggy and Joseph. When Miggy, that chemistry that they two had, man, it was like I can't even get a right analogy for it because it was
yeah.
perfect. It was perfect. You
And
know,
and 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 right now, Banks, it's funny because you talk about. I'm glad you said it and brought it up. Chemistry, man, is starting to build. Joseph is already there with Barco. The chemistry is there with him, but now he's building the chemistry with the other guys that he's learning to play with in Moreno and Arujo. Man, this can you say right time to start to and this season has been crazy because we've had a lot of international call ups. Joseph. We've had George Bello. We've missed Miles Robinson. These guys have gotten called up. We even missed Ezekiel Barco because he went to play in the Olympics for Argentina. So we've had a lot of call ups. So you talk about continuity and just meshing this all together. We've had a lot of call ups. Now these guys are back. There'll probably be some more call ups with international duty, trying to make it to this World Cup, man. But these guys are hitting a stride, and this attack is very, very strong. So Banks, I asked you this, and we're gonna continue to press forward in the podcast, though, man. Now with what you just saw with Orlando and Cincinnati, how do you feel about Atlanta United now going into the stretch, making this push into October, into the playoffs? How comfortable do you feel about them taking care of business right now in the East? And we'll talk about that in just a second.
a hell of a lot better than I did a month ago. I'm kind of that. I'm that concerned fan. Still not looking too far ahead. I believe on Saturday we play again. I want to say DC
The
United.
DC United on Saturday, correct?
Huge match that we have to jump ahead in the standings. So I feel that I don't want to think about the team after DC United. I want to think about them. I really feel comfortable. If that's the right word, comfortable. Going forward, I don't really want to talk about playoffs. I want to think about the next match. I want to think about winning,
Absolutely.
getting the 3 points, and I don't want to settle for one. I think we got enough ties in this season to last us for the rest of the season because I think nine is enough. Nine is enough.
Yeah. So like I said, you got like you said, DC coming up Saturday, trying to get 3 out of this DC, man. We're on a roll. And then on the 29th, I think we got Miami. Inter Miami coming to the Benz on the 29th on a Wednesday, another Wednesday night game. And so we run into several games into the Eastern Conference that will help our bid to move up further and further in the Eastern Conference. So I mean, let's be realistic, Bank. So I'm gonna be really realistic as we close out and talking about Atlanta United in this segment of the show. It's gonna be hard to catch New England right now. It's going to be very, very hard to catch New England.
Don't think you was trying to catch New England. I think the goal was to just get in this playoffs and see what happens. I think New England
Man,
has cemented that number one seed.
right now, well, I mean, it's still the shield is still up for push. I mean, we got a lot of soccer left.
I
Right now,
hear
New England.
you. I hear you. I don't think they're gonna. If only for the New England to even remotely think about New England is that they gotta have a massive collapse. I mean, not to say it can't
Well,
happen, but
I mean, for yeah, for us, yeah, you're right. It'll be yeah.
I mean, I'm confident to know that they don't scare me. I will put this Atlanta United team against them. Absolutely. 6 ways to Sunday. So
Yeah.
yeah.
This Atlanta United team, I think, right, this specific Atlanta United team that's playing the way that they're playing right now can match up with anybody that's in the top. And really, really quickly as I go, you of course you got New England sitting at number one in the Eastern Conference, followed by Nashville, that team in Central Florida, NYCFC, DC, Montreal, and Atlanta. And I think out of all those teams right now sitting above the playoff line, man, yes, you're absolutely right, Banks. We can compete and play with any one of those teams. They don't scare us. We have we've come into our own, and we putting everybody on notice again. Like, we are that team that y'all need to watch out for. We are. I think the only thing that we're having some issues with and some problems with is maybe, defensively, we can, in the midfield defensively, man, we can still use some work. Shout out to Joseto, man, who's been playing great in the midfield. Shout out to my man Sosa, who was out, suspension, yellow card accumulation, but he's been playing great in the midfield. Shout out to my man George Bello, of course, and I gotta shout out my man Miles Robinson, who's been playing out of his freaking mind, not only for Atlanta United but for the national team. I mean, who knew about Miles Robinson 3-4 years ago? He came into Atlanta United, and now he's almost in soccer circles. You know what I'm
A
saying? One of the
household
best.
name.
Exactly. In soccer circles, he's a household name, probably one of the best defenders that we have, and will probably be moving on to help us compete for the to get into the World Cup, and will probably be a part of the World Cup team here going into Qatar, next year. So, I'm very, very confident with Atlanta United right now moving forward, and I'm very, very excited. It's brought some just juice back to me. Back. Can you feel it, man? The juice. I'm back. I'm feeling good about Atlanta United, man. I'm excited as we move into October and move into those playoff months right now with Atlanta United, man. What an
Are you
exciting
feeling
time.
are you feeling as good as 2018?
Man, I'm feeling put like this in, man. I always say this, man. As a fan, we just want a shot, right? We just want to get into that dance. We're about to, we know we can get into the dance with what we got. So mark my words, man. Go back and talk about it. The attacking four that we got right now, moving forward, if we can continue to play like we've been playing these last several games, whew, man, man. The ceiling is, bruh. I'm getting excited. But we'll come back and talk about this for a later date, man. Hopefully, my man Derek can come back in here, man, and give us some insight to that as well. And also, my man Reggie, man. Shout out to my man Reggie and Gold Food, man. And also, man, shout out to our illustrious SG, man, Footy Mob, man, because we do this all the way around, man. What is your profession? You know what
Uh,
I'm saying?
well,
shout out,
what you
shout
about to
out to
say?
Footy
Oh.
Mob. I'm saying shout out to Footy Mob, man. So Atlanta United, man, and that's what's up with them. So okay, so now we're gonna move right on. It was no kind of so we moved from positivity to now I don't know what we're gonna move into. I don't know. But before we move into the nuts and bolts of our Atlanta Falcons, let's talk about a few things and a couple of things, man, that are pretty cool, right? Let's talk about a couple of things that are pretty cool. So, Banks, we put the outline together. You went through the outline, but there's a couple of little tidbits of stuff that I didn't throw in there that I wanted to get with you to talk about today. Specifically, something that there's a big Falcons history mark today that I don't even know if you even knew about. Did you know?
Today?
Today, there's a big Falcons history mark that we have to acknowledge. We do. Do you know?
I do not.
Okay, so you want me to give you do you want this?
Yes, I want it.
This is gonna be a feel good moment for the show. All right. So today in Falcons history, This marks the 48th anniversary of the most lopsided Falcons victory in the history of their franchise.
Let me
Why
guess.
you?
Was it that the Saints game?
It was the Saints game. It was the 62-7 beating that they gave the Saints 48 years ago to the day, man. So, in light of everything going on, man, we can still make fun of the Aints. We can still make fun of the Aints. I don't care how many times we played them, 62-7, 48 years ago. That beating will forever live in history. Hey, it is what it is.
And
Shout out to the New Orleans Aints.
funny how things come full circle, Leo. You talking about a lopsided victory. Let's talk about a lopsided victory of the Eagles on last Sunday.
Oh, you just
I
want to jump
mean,
right
I
into it.
had to.
You
I
didn't even,
had to.
man. You didn't even
No,
want to.
no, no. Let me tell you something, okay? I'm gonna let you take the show back over, but I just got something inside of me that's trying to bust out of my chest like alien. Okay, let's just be. Listen, that was a uncle that took his belt off and smoked the hell out of your behind, kind of
We took a
whooping.
beating. We took a beating. We took so
I
Banks before
mean,
we jump. So
it was a
so
whooping in the circle
it was
beating.
a beating. It was a beating. It was a beating. It was a beating. It was a beating. So before we get into that, Banks, let's because we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna really get into it, man. I'm gonna let you have it. We're gonna talk about this. Shout out to this 1792 120 proof bourbon that I'm drinking right now because this, I need it. I need it for about what we about to talk about. Banks, what you drinking on this evening? What you drinking on?
I'm drinking on some Mukau.
Okay, all right. So look, first of all, let's talk about this. Yeah, week one, Atlanta Falcons, Philadelphia Eagles. So both of us, it's no secret. We are season ticket holders. We go to every Falcons game. We've been to most Falcons games, more more than we can count. Right. So let's before we jump into the nuts and bolts of the game, man, let's talk about the atmosphere of the game. Let's talk about being at the game because we're going to take the outcome of the game out of this and just talk about the atmosphere of the game for a little bit, man, because we're fans and I created the Leo G podcast to talk about the fans' perspective, especially here in Atlanta, right? So we always link up at the game, right? You sit in a different section. You sit in a different section than I do, but we always find a way to link up during the game somehow, first quarter, second quarter, whatever. So this game was hard to watch, but Banks, I want you to tell me how. So when we did link up, I want you to kind of describe the scene of the very first game, full capacity game back in NBS after COVID, because this was the first full capacity game back in NBS. Now, look, we'll talk about what happened in the game in just a minute, but I want you to take that away, throw that back because we'll talk about. So, how did you feel about just getting back into Mercedes Benz full capacity, even though we're still living in a pandemic? But I'll tell you how I felt about it, but I want to get how you felt about getting back to some sense of, okay, this is what I'm used to. Go ahead and let everybody know how you felt.
It felt weird, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt kind of anxious, real anxious to walk in a venue with a lot of people. I mean, I'm just being real. Some people weren't even masked up. I mean, it was weird to see. I didn't want to get close to a lot of people, but I have no choice. I still felt like, back in my mind, I'm like, what are you doing here? This is not, this is very dangerous. It was like, God, you hope more people than not are vaccinated. But then, as being vaccinated really don't mean anything anymore. So it was a weird feeling, Leo. Very weird. Very weird.
Okay, it was weird. I will say that much. It was very very weird. But okay, so now let me pull this out of you a little bit. Let me pull this out of you. So it was weird, of course. COVID still very very real. Delta variant out there floating around. With all that being said, though, like the scenery and the atmosphere of the game, minus what was going on the field, how? the scene. Tell everybody, set the scene of how it was in Mercedes Benz on Sunday. There was a lot to see, a lot to do, and it was, and I tell everybody how I feel in just a minute. I'm gonna let you do this first. But there was a lot of scenery and there was a lot of stuff going on at Mercedes Benz. Yes, very, very cautious with COVID still very, very relevant, but set the scene, the mood in Mercedes Benz from kickoff to when you exited the building.
It was a funeral setting. I couldn't get a grasp on the atmosphere, Leo. It was a it was just being real, bro. It was like I was at Lincoln Financial Field. Besides the fact that it was Falcons home game, and I couldn't tell I didn't know I was a visiting fan. I couldn't even tell because it was a real drawed out, boring atmosphere.
Okay,
Besides
okay,
that one
okay,
little
okay.
section over there in the rise up section that was lit, but that's about it.
Damn that. Okay, so let me get damn that, man. Let me give Leo G's perspective. I gotta give Leo G's perspective, man. So shout out to everybody that was at the game with me, man. Shout out to my boy Phil. Shout out to my boy Stokes. Shout out to my boy Banks. Of course, you're right there. We were all together. Shout out to Derek Cole because we all came together, man. Section 217 at MBS. Dude, so yeah, you just alluded to it, man. It was crazy because of the way the game was going, the ebbs and flow of the game. We already knew there were going to be a bunch of Eagles fans. We already knew that, man. That was no secret. There was going to be a bunch of Eagles fans there that actually live here in this city. That was no secret. But I will say this much, man. Out of everything that was going on, the atmosphere for me was actually pretty cool. I will say, you know what I'm saying, just to get out the scenery, man. Like, because Atlanta is a city like none other, man. And I will say this much, man. We're going to make the best out of a piss poor situation. And it was a piss poor situation and a piss poor performance by the Falcons all the way around. It was. But Banks, just the camaraderie of it all and being out at a sporting event, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, we neither one of us went to a Falcons game in 2020. To get out, to go to a Falcons game in 2021, to see, just the scenery, and you know what I'm saying, I say scenery because, like I said, if you haven't been to an Atlanta Falcons game, man, it's an event. It's an event here in this city. Whether we winning or losing, we've talked about this on previous podcasts, man. It's an event, man. It's almost like a club, and that's what I'm trying to get at, Banks. We were losing. There were a lot of Eagles fans in there having a ball because, their team was winning. But at the same time, man, Atlanta did Atlanta. We were in there, man. Everybody was in there. The drinks were flowing. The stroll was going on. I know a lot of people get pissed off about seeing empty seats at kickoff or seeing empty seats after halftime. But if you're actually at the game, man, shit, we were having fun. I was out there having fun. And Banks said, "There you go, shaking your head." But so for me, Leo G, I can say I actually had fun with the camaraderie of my peeps, man. We was out there, we were clowning the team. The funny part for me was actually getting out there clowning the team about what they were doing out there on the field because we kind of already knew what it was. But I had fun, Banks. So, I don't know how you felt about it, man. But like I said, to me, Atlanta was being Atlanta for the first game outside of what was going on the field.
I mean, if that's what you want to roll with, then we're gonna roll with that, sir. Um, yeah, it was a lot of walking around. People got lost interest of the game after halftime, and I'm not gonna lie to you, me either. I was doing other things after halftime. I thought I kicked it with you guys. I went on there. I did a little victory lap around the stadium. So just to kind of do some people watching, just to see who I see, and that's a shame where you can go to an event, like a sporting event that's in your hometown, and the people are more interested in the actual team. Like
I
I
don't think
went
it's a
there.
shame. Hell, I don't think
Well,
it's a shame.
I'm not gonna say it's a
Well,
shame. I'm just saying that we have come down to at this point where I
hey,
can
like I
entertain
said,
myself
dude,
better by
it's
having a
one of
drink in one hand and with these eyes here and just watch people. Okay,
Well, and the reason I say
it's
that is
like
because
this.
look, you could go to some other NFL cities. If the product on the field ain't hitting on shit, you out the door headed
Oh
back to the
no, no,
crib.
no, no! You are right.
But
We
but
we seen that firsthand at other cities. Okay,
yeah, but
you
the
know,
thing is, it's funny because the product on the field wasn't hitting on nothing, but we were still able to entertain ourselves. That's what I'm saying, man. Like
right,
where else
right,
can you do that? I don't think you going to Buffalo and doing that. And I've been to Buffalo. Like if the
right,
product put like this here in 30-degree weather in Buffalo, if the product on the field ain't hitting on nothing, you ain't that's it. That's it. You leaving Orchard Park and going back home to get into the comfy 72 degrees of your house. You know what I'm saying? But at Mercedes Benz here in the ATL, when your team ain't doing worth a damn because they weren't, you can still, like you said, do your stroll, people watch, do whatever you do. You know what I'm saying, and still have a pretty decent afternoon. That's all I'm saying.
right. I mean that's what it is. I mean, we remember, a couple of years back, man, we went to Nashville, and the guy walked up on us and say, here's 2 tickets. You want them? We were like, what? But at the time, Tennessee wasn't hitting on nothing. They were literally giving seats away to opposing fans. Like, I couldn't believe my eyes. Like, I know we had some bad teams in Atlanta. I don't recall any of Falcon fans would just give tickets to anybody, just walk the hell away. I could be
Hey man,
wrong.
news flash, Tennessee still ain't hitting on nothing. Okay. So look, let's get into the game. Let's get into the game, man. So the Falcons take an embarrassing loss to the Chin, man. 36-6 lost to the Eagles, man. Straight up beat down, man. And so let's go back to the previous podcast. So my actual prediction was that the Falcons would be able to pull out a victory against the Eagles. I said my score was 24-17. Falcons should be able to win. And the reason I said that was because the Eagles was a team that struggled last year. They were 4-12. You had Jalen Hurts coming in as, the first solidified starter this year of the Eagles post Carson Wentz, post Nick Foles. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Eagles, new coach, everything. So I said, this should be or possibly be a winnable game for the Falcons. 24-17 was my prediction, but man, I was wrong as hell. Banks, I know you predicted a victory as well.
Well, at least I got it half right. I said it's going to be in the 30s, and only one team scored in the 30s, so half of it was right. I mean, I didn't even fathom that the Falcons couldn't even get a damn touchdown on the board. But okay, I mean,
So look, man. So we got embarrassed. 36-6, man. The Falcons were beating every phase of the game, man. So look, the first two series look very, very promising, man. And we'll go into what happened after the wheels fell off. But the first two series look pretty promising. I'm not gonna lie. We moved the ball pretty efficiently, pretty decent. Got into the red zone where we've struggled for quite some time, and we could not finish. So those are the only two bright spots that I have for this entire game. The first two drives where we actually got into the red zone and came away with
and
3 points.
and the national anthem.
Shout out the national anthem. Shout out my man Young Way Cool for kicking them through. So Banks, tell me exactly how did you feel about the two opening drives offensively and just because we had some marginal success moving the ball down the field on the first two on the opening drive and the next drive thereafter. So tell me how you felt about what you saw in those two drives.
I saw a run game that was going to run no matter what, and I actually saw glimpses of a offensive line that tried to make holes, that attempted to make a hole. And the second series with Patterson, Cordell Patterson, he looked pretty good. Too much I can say about Davis, man. I'm still lukewarm again for him. I was never a big fan of his when he was in Carolina. It's just whatever with me with him. So I mean, I have to see more and then see what happens, how that translates to the next game, and then the game after that, and then the game after that, before I can give a good feel good about a run game. But yeah, it wasn't an improvement from last year. But other than that, I can't really get a good feel on it.
All right, man. So game got out of hand pretty early, like you said, man. We tried to stick with the run. We did very, very good with the run in the first half. Unfortunately, man, if you follow football, you understand and know that, man. Once the game gets out of hand, once you start to concede points, it's hard to stick with the run game, man. First half, the run game looked very, very decent against a good front seven. Let's be real, man. The Eagles have a decent front seven. They have one of probably the best interior defensive lineman that we've seen over the last, decade in Fletcher Cox. We were able to do some things and run the ball in the first half. Mind you, the game got away from us and we had to kind of get away from the run, but we were doing fairly, fairly decent, man. And then, like I said, the game just, the wheels fell off and it got away from us, man. So, two things that I came away with in this game that I felt like, yo, we're not going to talk about why. We're just going to talk about the now and how this is and what can we do to possibly move forward from this. Trenches, we look like crap. Shit, we do. Offensive line and defensive line, we look horrible. First of all, I want to talk about the offensive line a little bit, Banks, and I'm gonna get your thoughts on this, man. Offensive line, like I just said, we were able to move the ball, do some running in the first half. Second half, it was a hot mess. So specifically Jalen Mayfield, left guard, put him out there, baptized by fire. It wasn't good for him. Um, not going into depth about why it is the way that it is over there at left guard, man. But what were your takes on the offensive line as a whole? And what do you take from it moving forward, man, going into the rest of this season, man?
Boo, boo. That's what I think about the offensive line. What's the guy's name? Baldinger. He had put out a tweet
Brian
showing
Baldinger. Shout out to Brian Baldinger. Yep, Baldy.
he pulled out a a play in the red zone where the offensive line did something very retarded. They did a shift and left Davis to block um, what's his face for
Fletcher
the
Cox.
Eagles,
Fletcher
Fletcher
Cox.
Cox,
Fletcher
yeah.
Cox. Yeah.
And I'm like, and I saw it unfold. Like I didn't really get to see it real time because I was caught in the moment and I wanted to see a score and everything. But when he actually broke it down, I saw that happen. I'm like, I sat there in blank stare. Like I can't believe that was a play. Like that's what we're doing. And when you talk about the offensive line as a whole, you said Jalen Mayfield. My lord, dude! Like you were olaying, as the word olay could even translate, even if whatever it can be. I mean, good grief, my man! I know you're a rookie; it was your first game, but you just looked like you did not belong in this league. It was horrible. It was just painful to watch.
I
You went
mean,
to the sidelines and you sat there like you just had a look like, where am I here?
to his
You rethink
defense,
about yours. It was not a good look
to
for the man.
okay, so really, so I'm gonna come to Jalen Mayfield's defense for just a second. We drafted him in the third round. He was a tackle in college. We drafted him third round. He was never supposed to be in the position. Now I know Banks. He's an NFL player. You get put into this position. You got to perform as an NFL player. But hey, man, look, this kid got thrusted into something that he did not see coming. He got drafted several months ago as a tackle from Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. He came from Michigan. And, we were going to string him along, you know, bring him in to the NFL, string him along, bring him into the depth. You literally went from third round draft pick out of college. And let's not forget how the 20, because I don't even think this kid played a snap in 2020 with that whole COVID situation. Then you come into the NFL, they start to play you and plug you in different places. You get put to left guard, and then all of a sudden, due to injuries, you are at the front of the depth chart, and you're starting week one against one of the better front sevens in the NFL. So I will say for that, being baptized by fire and with all the other constraints we have with this team and this salary cap, man, I mean, like, It is what it is, Banks. It is what it is. I don't know what we expected out of him, but it is what it is. It is what it is with him. I mean, I don't know. What else do you have to say about it?
Just get ready for a continuation on this Sunday. You know, if that was a baptism, but he about to really be ascended to heaven this coming Sunday. So I mean,
I mean,
it's
you gotta learn. You gotta learn at some point. You like Arthur Smith said, you gotta get in there. You gotta fight it out. You gotta understand that. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. Going into next week. But yeah, it was brutal. Um, so a couple of things here moving into because we're deep into the podcast now, and I want to get a couple of points in before we have to wrap this up. Arthur Smith came out in his presser, Banks, and said that he took all the blame for not having the team prepared for week one. I know, me and you both have personal conversations off of doing the podcast, but you really, really took offense to this. You really, really took offense to this, and I want you to kind of go into detail as to why you took such offense.
first of all, you came in and you told the fan base in your press conference that this is not a rebuild. You know, we got players here that can win right now. You know, you sold this dream of we got Matt Ryan and we got, this new shining piece we got in Kyle Pitts. And, we're gonna do this. We can win with this. And then you go in the preseason and you don't even start your players in a brand new offense, by the way. You got a rookie who's never played in the NFL, who just came straight out of college, who had only 1 year, good year in Florida, by the way. And he doesn't get now one. He gets one snap, and then you come in and you want him to come out and play in the NFL where the bullets are real, and then you get slaughtered like that, and then you want to have the audacity to say, "Oh, we were prepared." Oh, you think? Well, I mean, I get it. You're not going to learn in 8 plays in preseason. I get it, but it's something about getting acclimated. With all those penalties you had on the offensive line, the false starts, and the procedure penalties, all that could have been. You could have saw that going into week one, and you could have did some kind of adjustment. I mean, you just put these guys out there and like, okay, I'm going to protect these guys so they won't get hurt in the preseason. This is football, man. Football. You players get hurt in training camp, preseason, regular season. It don't matter. It's football. That's what injuries. It happens. You can't protect players, man. I don't understand why even a thing. Look at Baltimore Ravens. They had guys dropping like flies. They still playing hard. And I get it. We don't have the depth. I totally get it. But you can't just sit there and babysit these guys. Because guess what? If they would have got hurt week one, then what difference does it make? You didn't play them. You didn't play Matt Ryan. You didn't play Kyle Pitts. You didn't play Ridley. You didn't. It was like you got what you got. And how dare you even fix your lips to say anything about preparation? I guess
Bottom line, Banks.
that scrimmage in Miami must have did it for you, brother.
Bottom line, Banks, man. How so are we 100% on the shoulders of Arthur Smith with this 32-6 loss to the Eagles? Are we 100% on the shoulders of Arthur Smith?
No, because it was everybody. Everybody stunk it up. It ain't just Arthur Smith. Matt played his part. He stunk it up. The offensive line played their part. They stunk it up. Defense played their part. They stunk it up. Everyone had a part in that turd. Okay, so let's that's a whole what you call a full team participation loss because everyone participated in that. And I hear what Arthur Smith trying to say. Don't give me that. I feel bad for the fans. Crap. We don't feel bad for you because guess what? You came in here and it's the same thing that we just saw last year. The same exact thing. So I don't want to hear it.
Okay. So look, we're gonna move move a little move a little more into it and talk about this. Um, so here we go, man. Week one is over. There was it was a you know we can't really. speak too much on what happened week one, man. It is what it is. Moving into week two, coming up, Tampa Bay 405 on this Sunday, man. The defending world champs who were 1-0, who look very, very good against Dallas. So now, Banks, man, I'm going to give my opinion on what I feel about is going to happen this Sunday, man. So really, really quickly, Banks, because we're coming up against the mark, man. I want you to tell me how you feel moving into this game on Sunday against Tampa Bay. What do you think? I guess how do you feel this team is going to react after getting shellacked by the Eagles moving into this game? And what do we have to look forward to? Because I know, yeah, it's easy to say, yeah, ass whooping against the Bucks, but do you see anything remotely that we can build upon to move into this game? Do you think we're going to be competitive? Do you think we're going to fight? Just tell us how you feel about what's going to happen Sunday with the Falcons going into this game against the Bucks, brother.
You said it best, Leo. You say it is what it is. Okay. And that's the new slogan for this team. It is what it is. Your games, football games, are won in the trenches. Is it not? Your offensive line, your defensive line. It's won in the trenches. Your trenches is pig slop. It belongs in a trench. So you mean to tell me you're going to go into the defending world champions with Vita Vea and his name escapes me, but that defensive line in Tampa
Indomitian,
Bay,
you got Indomitian, so you got Vita
that
Vea, you got
that guy,
JPP,
that guy,
you
that
got
guy,
Levante. You got
that
a lot
guy,
of guys
that
down there on
guy,
the front seven that can do it. Yeah.
that guy, that guy. Just call the whole the DL line, the defensive line, that guy. Yeah, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a different name called every other play come Sunday. I never, in my fanhood of the Atlanta Falcons, have felt that I can pretty much guarantee a loss. Like, this is the only time I felt like there is no chance that this team can beat. They may play better, as in trying to um, play different because they know the offensive line is not pulling their weight. Play different play calls. I can see that happening. Do I actually see them making it close? Absolutely not. I mean, you have a defense that is still missing in action when it comes to pass rush. Still, to this day, we're talking what 20 years later, and we're still wondering what Dante Flowers is going to give us. At this point, I think it's pretty clear that he's going to give us a big fat goose egg. Absolutely nothing. Okay. Only bright spot I can say about the defense is the fact that AJ Terrell wasn't targeted and he kind of held his own. Okay, good for the kid. Good for him. But you're looking at a game where they thrive on the line of scrimmage. Tampa Bay. They thrive on the line of scrimmage. Offensive line and defensive line. They thrive in that. And you mean to tell me this inept team is about to go in there and try to beat them? Absolutely not. Like I said, I don't want to say it. It pains me to say it, but it is a guaranteed loss. We can try to shoot for our first win week 3. So sorry.
Okay, so look, man, I'm gonna just give my synopsis of what I feel, how I feel about what's going on with the team. So look, man, um, one of the other things, one of the other notes I wanted to bring up is that Dean Pease actually admitted as well that this was the very first time on the install that a lot of the players on the defense actually saw and actually were able to perform what he asked of them in week one. Does preseason actually matter? Um, I don't know. I guess what the coaches are telling us is that maybe preseason did actually matter. We're trying to get people familiarized with what they wanted to do and what they wanted people to be able to do. Arthur Smith saying he took all the blame with not having a team prepared, and then Dean Pease actually admitting to Sunday being the first time that a lot of the players on his defense actually saw and actually knew what he wanted to try to do, and this was going to be a long process. Because let's be realistic, man. Dean Pease came out of retirement to be the defensive coordinator with Arthur Smith here, man. And I'm not no shade to Dean Pease. I think he's a great defensive coordinator. But I mean, when he comes out and make a statement like that, you got to take it for what it's worth. I mean, They did decent under the circumstances. Could they have done better? Absolutely. I'm with you, Banks. Yes, more pass rush, different things of that nature. But hey, it is what it is moving forward. So let me give you my take on Tampa Bay, man. I hate to put anything negative out against the home team, man. I really, really do. But I just don't see a chance for this team to do anything in Tampa, man. Unfortunately, man, we have too many deficiencies, man, and we are devoid of talent for us to go in there and actually make this very, very competitive. I will say this much: pride is something that I do feel like that the Falcons is working in the Falcons' favor. I do think they're going to be prideful and going into Tampa and playing better than they did against the Eagles because the eye test against the Eagles was horrible. So I do see them going in there and trying to be competitive in Tampa, but I just don't see them being able to have enough to compete with the defending champions, man. And what, obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time is able to do. I will go ahead and make the prediction right now, and this is going to sound crazy, and a lot of Falcons fans are probably going to say, man, you nuts with this prediction. But my prediction is going to actually be pretty, it's going to be not what a lot of Falcons fans are going to think, right? My prediction for this game Sunday is going to be 35-27. I think that the Falcons are going to go in and play prideful. I think we've seen Matt Ryan come back and bounce back, from ugly losses to play prideful and play hard. But I think they just don't have enough to do it to beat Tampa. So 35-27 is my final score. And I think that Tampa is going to be able to orchestrate something to just break the Falcons back probably late in the game to say, hey, you know what? We are the defending champions. I am Tom Brady. I'm going to impose my will and we're going to score. We're going to win this game. So that's my prediction for the game. I'm gonna let you get your prediction, Banks. I don't know how you feel about this, but like I said, we're up against the mark with the show. But I do think that it's not. Most Falcons fans think that this is going to be just a kick in the butt. And my thing is, I think pride is going to carry the Falcons into playing. The Falcons are going to overachieve Sunday. I think that adrenaline and pride are going to have the Falcons overachieve. Therefore, they're going to probably look a little more competitive than I think they actually are. And like I said, that's the reason I give that score line of 35-27. So, Banks, I'm gonna let you have your prediction of what we're gonna see Sunday, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up.
What the Southern folks used to say, Leo, was bless your heart. If they score 27 points, I'll eat this microphone. I think, yeah, you're right about the pride part, but I think talent wins over, and talent they don't have. And you can only do so much with pride. Pride can only give you a first series touchdown, and you feel good about it. Then the second series and third series will slap you back down to reality. I, for one, wants to believe that the Falcons got something left in their gut to say we're not going to be embarrassed 2 weeks in a row. But it's kind of hard to see how 7 days is going to change what we saw. And what we saw was pretty much a deficiency where we can't really help it. That's just what we are. You got, an offensive line that's trying to find themselves. You got a defensive line that was dead on arrival, and they were dead on arrival since last season. So I can't even give a score right now because I'm
No. So before we get out of here, man, I'm going to lock you in to a prediction. I'm going to. I'm going to
okay.
have to lock you
All
into a
right.
prediction
I'm gonna
so we
give
can
you
go
a
back and we can
prediction.
talk about this. Like it or
I'm gonna
like it
I'm
or
gonna I'm
whatever.
gonna give you a
Lock it
prediction.
in. Lock it in.
I'm gonna give you a 45-10 score. It's
Okay.
gonna be a game where Tom Brady doesn't play the whole game because he doesn't have to. It's gonna be
Damn.
ugly. It's gonna be ugly, bro. And I hate to say it like that, but I don't see the Falcons recovering. Not this first half of the season. I think they're gonna do what they've been doing for the past couple of years. Is find a way to kind of string you along, and then the last 4, 5, 6 games they'll put you win a couple of winless games, and you out of draft position, and you're picking 10th. Well, you should have been picking second. So
I didn't say that much. I said we were gonna take a L Sunday. I didn't say that we were
again,
gonna. I didn't
again,
say okay. So I'm gonna say this much here, and we're gonna have to close this out. I don't think I think the Falcons are who we think they are. I don't think this Banks. To be honest with you, not to get too far ahead of myself. This is who we are. Okay. I don't think this is a string along team this year. I want them to prove me wrong. I don't think this is a string along team. I think this is a team that's going to get everything they deserve this year, and we're going to pick top five again. Okay, and I say that because we're devoid. We don't have a lot of talent, and after what I saw, an unprepared rookie head coach that blew a whole preseason to get prepared, moving into the first 4 or 5 games of this season. Now you're like you just said, Banks. We're playing catch up. We're playing catch. Even though after you get past Tampa, you got a couple of teams that are probably just as bad as you are, but it's gonna be up to you to figure out whether or not you're gonna dig deep enough to beat them. Because you're gonna have a New York Giants team that's pretty damn bad. That's pretty. Let's be real. That they're pretty bad. You got a Washington Redskins team that don't even have a quarterback right now. That is pretty bad. That you got coming up on the schedule. So if you let them games slip past you, then yes, you deserve everything that you get. And like I said, I'm saying it right now, and I'm calling it right now, man. If you end up picking in the top five, it's because you are who we thought you were. But I'm calling them out to tell them to say, hey, prove me wrong. And yes, I'm calling the L in Tampa because what I saw Sunday and talent wise, what we have, I don't think you're able to do it. I'm giving you 27 points on pride and coming out and playing better than you did against the Eagles, but not good enough to beat the defending champs.
that's
That's
fair.
that's that's
That's
that's where
fair.
I'm coming with that, man. That's where I'm coming with that. So, man, with that being said, man, there's a lot of other stuff that we wanted to get into, man. A lot of other stuff that we're gonna have to leave to another date, man. Hopefully, when my man Derrico comes up, we can talk about, man. I wanted to get into this whole Matt Ryan debate again, man, with the Ryan Knights against the fanboys. Because there's a lot of stuff here in Atlanta that's going on. From a fan's perspective, I want to talk about a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, man, right before we go out of this show, man, really, really quickly, man. And we're gonna wrap this up. So Banks is really, really quickly. I want a lot of people that if you listen to this show and you're not here in the city and you don't listen to sports talk radio and you don't understand what's going on with this fan base right now, man. Obviously, yes, we took a huge L against the Eagles, but there's a big thing going on with they've actually so the Matt Ryan apologist, the Matt whatever. If you're a Matt Ryan fan, if you're behind Matt Ryan, you're now been put into this whole Ryanite group, and then you have this whole fanboy group of people that think that if Matt Ryan was not a part of this organization, if we had a better quarterback that quote unquote a mobile quarterback, quote unquote somebody that can make things happen without without all the other things that we know we need with a football team, that everything's just gonna be okay. And you know what, bump it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it before it close out because it's a Leo G show, and I'm gonna say it and I'm gonna put this out there on the table, man. There are a lot of people in this city that feel as though if Matt Ryan was not here and we had a more athletic quarterback, that this team would be probably better and more successful, right? I'm not gonna get into anything else, but other than the fact that if we had a better or more athletic quarterback, then this team would be a lot better off. And if you feel that Matt Ryan is still a serviceable quarterback, something is wrong with you. But there are a lot of people, Banks, that still feel as though athletic young quarterback solves everything. Everything. Offensive line can't block. Get a quarterback that can scramble. He can make things happen with his feet, and we can extend plays. Defense not doing well. Get an athletic quarterback. He can score more points. We don't have to worry about the deficiencies on defense. The
Stuff
coach,
like that.
the coach isn't calling the right plays. Get an athletic quarterback. He can make things happen even in spite of bad play calling.
What gets me upset is the fact that that's what they think. And don't you realize that if any quarterback played behind that offensive line we had last Sunday will be athletic and running? Hell, every play he'll be running. And guess what? If you want to do that, then won't you just run the Wildcat right now with the running back we have already? Put Davis behind center, and you got your running quarterback. Because that's exactly what he's gonna be doing. He ain't gonna have time to throw it. I don't understand, the whole blame of one position. I get it why they doing it, but if we get a scrambler or athletic quarterback, I don't want to hear no other problem with the team. That means it's the quarterback's fault. It's Matt Ryan's fault. So that means we get a random guy who's athletic, we ain't gonna have no more problems. If the pocket break down, he can run. The receiver's gonna magically come open. The defense is gonna magically get sacks. I'm just saying, if we get a quarterback that scrambles, I don't want to hear no other excuse about no other position. Not one.
Hey
I
man,
better
I'm
not
I'm
hear it.
with you. I'm with you, brother. It's We're gonna get back and we're gonna talk. Hopefully, we can get Derico back here, man. We can have another deep dive conversation in this because I know he feels a certain way about this as well. And we'll go from there, man. But look, at this point, man, we're gonna have to go ahead and end this and come to a close. Banks, I want you to let everybody know where they can get at you, man.
You can find me at BabyBanks80 at the Twitter and on the gram. Antoine Jarrell Banks on Facebook. Um, Make sure you hit me up, DM me, whatever you got to do. I'm a busy guy. I'm not a real big, huge social media kind of dude, but I will do it if I know people are hitting me up. Um, Other than that, man, I'm here in
Man,
ATL.
so look, man, I'm gonna say this like I've been saying, man. We need everybody to get on their horn, man. Banks is looking for a social media assistant to manage all of his social media accounts. Cause like he just said, he's a busy man, but he needs somebody to manage his TikTok. Cause y'all didn't know this. He didn't want me to tell y'all this, man. But TikTok, he needs somebody to manage his Instagram and his Twitter, all that stuff, man. So look, we're still taking applications for to get some social media assistant for Banks. But in the meantime, man, you can always follow us, man. The whole show, man. The whole show. You can follow us at the Leo G Show on Twitter. And you can also follow us and find us on Facebook as well. You can also find me on my personal Twitter account. That's at Southern Set with 2 T's. I like to, you know what I'm saying, talk about sports, whatever the case may be, man. A few people from the show have come at me about it, man. And I love to, get back with the people, man. That's what I like to do. And we like to talk about sports. Once again, man, I like to reiterate, man, this is a show from a fan's perspective. This is a fan perspective. We're not experts. You know what I'm saying? We are fans. We are mere fans. Banks has never said that he was an expert. Neither have I and neither has Derico. We're mere fans talking about what we're talking about and how we feel about our teams. And if you feel like you want to come on to the show, we'll be very, very receptive for you to come on and be a guest and express your opinion, and we can talk about this, man. We can really, really do it, man. Banks has always been fun, man. As always, hopefully we can get Derico back next week. We went a little over today, man, but that's okay. We're gonna try to get this out to the people. Hopefully tonight, if not by in the morning. This has been another edition of the Leo G Show, man, and we're gonna be out.